Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday evening, and I'm getting ready for our Story Life Zoom Bible study that's going to start in just about a half an hour. It's at 6:30 when I'm recording this. So I'm in my office, and I'm thinking about what to say tonight. I've been thinking about that for most of the day. I've been also preparing for that study tonight. There's so much going on in our world. There's so many things that are happening, and yet I find that at this point, 30 days into the 31 days into our quarantine and doing nightly videos, there's a sense in which I start to wonder, do I really have something else to say? What else would I come up with that I haven't already gotten at with you? But as I was thinking about that, my mind was led back to a verse that I find to be one of my favorites in my favorite book, probably in all of the Bible, which is Paul's letter to the Philippians. In Philippians 4, verse 4 says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice." I come back to this over and over again, not because I am so full of joy all the time, although I am probably more positive than negative most of the time. But I come to this because in those moments where, like today, I'm kind of just going through and saying, oh my goodness, I have more to do, I have more to do, I have more to do, and I'm not sure that I'm finding the joy in it. I come back, this verse comes back to me. The Holy Spirit brings me back to this verse, and it says, "Rejoice in the Lord." See, it's not in me that I rejoice. It's not in what's going on that I rejoice. It's not in what's happening around me that I rejoice. It's rejoicing in the Lord. Again, and then Paul goes on to say, "Again, I will say rejoice." The only reason to write "rejoice in the Lord always," "again, I will say rejoice," is because people are resistant to rejoicing at that moment, at that time. And Paul understood this. He understood that we have to be convinced that we have something to rejoice about. Leading up to Easter, I was in a conversation with a dear friend and who's really struggling right now, and he loves Easter. He loves this season. He loves the celebration that we had, but he loved all of the things that are part of our typical Easter. And he was so tired and worn out about hearing. About all of the things that weren't going to get to take place on our Easter. And so finally, when I was trying to cheer him up and I was listening to him and I was saying, yeah, I understand how much you're going to miss all of that. And one day we'll get to have it, but we're going to make the best of this Easter. And then I said, Happy Easter. And they said, don't say Happy Easter anymore. And I said, oh, it just broke my heart because I could feel the hurt and the pain there. And I understand where that comes from. But I shared that while this Easter might not be happy, we still are called to rejoice in the good news, in the truth that Jesus is alive, that no amount of no amount of cancellations or distancing or anything can get in the way of the fact that Jesus is alive and on the move and working for our good. And so we rejoice, not because everything that we see is good, but because we know how good our God is, and we know that God is capable of living, of overcoming, of being victorious over every little thing that gets in our way. And so we rejoice. Again, I will say, rejoice. Have a great night and keep living the story.